All right, I guess the theme song's broken. Oh, nope, there. Oh, yes! All right, this is episode 499 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Malda, and I am here today for a very special final countdown special. We're going to be watching the 1980 sci-fi classic, and I am here today with just some of the best people you're ever going to meet. I got Chris DeBona.
Hello, everybody.
I got a Nate Ostendorp.
No time paradox too big, no time paradox too small.
And I got a Rob Roseboom.
That's me. And I think there is a time paradox that's too small. Just for the record.
All right. So this week's movie was the selection of Chris DeBona. Tell us about it.
So I don't know when I first came across this movie. This is a 1980 film featuring a number of kind of name actors like Kirk Douglas and Martin Sheen. This is Martin Sheen's movie that he did right after Apocalypse Now. So this is a post-heart attack, nervous breakdown Martin Sheen, which is kind of interesting. It's funny because I have really warm feelings towards this movie, but then I watched it again and I still liked it, but it was way slower than I remember.
Yeah.
And which is okay. It was just interesting. I was like, it's funny how things have changed. It's not like a modern movie's timings. And also it's basically a long form advertisement for joining the Navy and the rest. But,
I just watched Top Gun last week, and it suffers from the same problem as this movie. If you cut out all of these segments of jets landing and taking off and like people scrambling around on the deck of the aircraft carrier, you straight up lose 30 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, for sure it has 80s pacing, but I kind of like that. Chris, you and I discussed this a little bit earlier in the week. I kind of liked that it's basically just a long episode of The Twilight Zone, right?
Totally. Yeah.
There's no setup for a sequel really or anything like that. Like there is in every movie now today. They don't, it's not going to be 12 hours of episodes. So, it is what it is. It's a little neat sci-fi story wrapped up and delivered to you with 80s pacing.
Yeah,
for sure. Let's see what other stuff. It's a fairly low budget movie if you take out the name actors and the fact that they got the government to foot the bill for like a lot of the airplane stuff.
Isn't that kind of like saying, this would have been a really cheap movie to make if they didn't pay for anything? I mean, what was there for them to pay for other than the name actors?
Well, they filmed huge parts of it literally on a docked aircraft carrier.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, like it's show up and shoot. And
yes.
We can mention it at some point in the middle too. But there's a point where an airplane crashes on the deck, and that actually happened. And they actually were on hand to film it. And like, all right, there you go. You don't need a special effect. It's gonna look kind of lame, but and it does look lame.
It does. Well, it's funny too because it could have been this really nice tense. Well, we'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get there. All right. Well, let's see. The first note that we have is way back in the beginning of this. Like, okay, so my first note for this is, to my thinking, we go 16 minutes into this movie before actually anything happens. Because the first 16 minutes of this movie are setting up the following facts. President Bartlet is going to be going on an aircraft carrier and sent by a guy who we don't know. And here's some wacky people that he's going to see, I guess.
Yeah, it's like Mr. Tiedemann doesn't need you to see him or meet him. He just came to see you off.
I have respect for anyone who lives his entire life backlit in the rear seat of a Cadillac. I think that's, that's the place of power. That's where, you should aspire to be.
The room where it
it's
happens.
All class.
It's I don't know. It's funny because you guys you're like me. You guys will watch any time travel movie, I assume. So when you see a shadowy figure in the first 5 minutes of a movie, you just like, okay, well, now let's start checking off who it can be. There weren't a lot of choices.
For sure. Well, so another thing I wanted to point out, there's a book series called The Axis of Time by John Birmingham. He's an Australian science fiction author. And it's pretty good. It's basically if a more science fiction-y advanced carrier battle group goes back to World War II and the Battle of Lake Alphen. So it's pretty good. So it's worth reading if you like this kind of thing. So
tell us about Lloyd Kaufman.
Lloyd Kaufman is better known for being the creator, founder, whatever, head writer of Troma Studios.
Is he that kind of little guy?
Yeah,
am I thinking of the right guy?
You're thinking of the right guy. He's actually in the movie as an actor, and he's listed as associate producer for whatever that means. But after this, he would go and start Troma Studios. So I sort of watched this movie because I didn't realize he was part of it, until I did the rewatch for this member movies, and I was like, imagine if this was actually a Troma movie, right? Like, so you have like the toxic pilot, the toxic time traveling Avenger, or whatever.
Toxic
body parts would fall off people right and left.
Yeah, exactly.
People would definitely be melting. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Rob?
Oh, yeah. So this just got me thinking that I know, like, test pilot's a dangerous job and stuff, but the first people who actually tried out the catapult and wire catching systems on aircraft carriers, man, they have to have big ones, right? I mean, that is some scary stuff. I mean, if you're testing a plane or a jet and it isn't working right, you can eject theoretically, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, if you go into the drink in front of a moving aircraft carrier,
Done.
I have
it's a bad scene.
I have several notes scattered throughout the document about this, but I have seen, whilst sitteth at the right hand of my father, a fairly large number of aircraft, naval, history channel type documentary shows, and the actual, like, the procedures and stuff for everything that works out on the deck, the dudes with the yellow suits and all the flags and all that, like, that is, like, you think that the systems that you put in place to make sure that your server doesn't crash and that you can bring up your VMs, you think those systems are complicated. Ain't nobody dying when you screw that up. These are real protocols, and they're fun to watch and they're fun to learn about.
Yeah, well, it's funny because, your little script that launches this site, it actually linked to the previous
Twitters
one. So that would be the equivalent of sending a guy into the drink, or him crashing against the island, right?
I think it has more to do with the fact that this is a time travel movie, and I actually sent people back to yesterday at 11 o'clock.
On theme. Very well done, Mr. Maldo.
You see how I did that? I'm like a ninja. I'm like a excuse ninja.
You're exactly like a ninja.
That's right. In no way at all. Nate, Nate, you have this. You want me to run it?
Yeah, run it for a little bit.
Here's your job, Mr. Lasseter.
I'm a systems analyst.
Efficiency expert, right?
Yeah, you could say that.
I love, in connection with The Fly, how I'm just a systems guy. Don't really, I just look at how things operate together. That was a good 80s sort of, general, like, I'm going to be the main character of the movie.
Well, Tron too. I mean, like there's just like a generic, like, techno suit guy. And like that, like in a modern movie, you probably would try to make it more complicated.
Or more grandiose.
That's true. You'd have loftier aspirations than, I write some PHP.
Well, no, I think this was a holdover of like that sort of World War II taciturn sort of like, so I liberated the eagle's nest, but I don't talk about it much.
Whatever.
So.
and here he's like, Captain, what exactly is it would you say you do here? Being the efficiency expert. I was waiting for the bobs to show up behind him.
Yeah. Right.
Well, what was really funny about it was like he's like, well, if your boss didn't design this ship, then we would have never had you on board. And I'm like, this is some BS right here. This is some really weak storytelling.
Yeah, you're just setting some shit up, is what you're doing.
Yeah. So for this thing coming up, oh, sorry, you're on Zen still. My apologies.
I think Zed just said his thing.
I did.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so this scene coming up, I just watched it and I'm like, the rain guy really he didn't do the work. It's just cringy rain. So go ahead and hit play. It's like so weak.
Splash.
Yep. There. Yeah.
It's like, here, have some water.
I'm squirting it on the window there.
I literally think it's a guy with a squirt gun just going.
He says, I am Spartacus. Squirt, squirt.
I suspect it's Lloyd Kaufman. He's like, that's about the level of effort that Lloyd Kaufman would put into rain. He's like, that's good enough. Maybe some more red.
No, what we can do is produce movies way cheaper where body parts fall off people.
And then we use those body parts in later movies.
It's budget.
Saigon. Shit, I'm still only in Saigon. I was so waiting for the end to start playing in the background, but no.
That's really funny.
All right, Rob, you want me to let this run? What's the
no,
blur?
we're good.
So if you look at the scenes in this section for the next however many minutes, there's something going on with how they filmed it with like either a tilt shift lens or so they could fit inside these tight compartments where the top and the bottom are blurred, but the center isn't. And it's absolutely mind-numbingly annoying for me.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That's all. And also the thing I wanted to say about this is he just sort of walks into his pals, the guy across the way's room starts rummaging through it. I'm like, that's some nosy crap, man. Right? Yep. I would have beaten him about the head and shoulders, with that chair there. It's like, what the hell are you doing in my room, buddy? That's not okay,
Yeah, he definitely needs to learn some boundaries.
Right?
Look, he's on a mission. Eventually, Leo's going to come, recruit him, and change his life.
Yeah.
He's on the path. That's all I'm saying.
He's nosy.
That's true. Let's see. All right. What does he say here?
Cloud, you've been doing unauthorized rain dances again, huh?
Wow. I'm, yep. You got to say a lot of stuff back then.
Yeah. Captain Kirk Douglas here. We lost a Nate.
Nope, by Nate.
Nate was offended.
Yep.
Yeah, Captain Kirk Douglas here probably got mustered out during the tailhook scandal a couple of years later. Is Nate in the right position?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Let's see.
This one is clear. I've never seen anything like it.
Okay. This is my moment. This is the moment. This is 16 minutes 30 seconds. My note is stuff happens. This is the first thing. This movie is an hour and 40 minutes long. We are 16 minutes into it. We are nearly 20% of the way through our runtime.
Also, don't forget that for whatever reason, inexplicably, tons of people don't notice this is happening. Right? A lot of people, for whatever reason, don't notice this is right in front of them.
This is just weather.
Mr. Roseboom, they're concentrating on their jobs. Mm-hmm. They know that if they spend a lot of time messing around with the weather and looking outside the windows.
I look at this 3-inch, green dot screen here, and
that's right.
If it's not happening there, it doesn't happen.
You skipped my 17, Rob Mulder.
What did I skip to you?
What? 17.
You want 17? All right.
Yeah. So, these are focused individuals.
So I was going to go back a couple seconds. So. All right, never mind.
What are we looking for, man? Oh, this is the accident.
The spotlight. No.
Oh.
No. The light.
A little further.
That guy?
There you go. There you go. So I was just going to say that I'm sure a lot of us have gone through this during this pandemic, that, you find yourself living at home with, your significant other a lot more than usual.
animals get rowdy.
Well, it was
Your
nice
animals
knowing you,
freak
Rob.
out. All right, well, anyway,
Do you feed them?
I was just saying that using a spotlight to communicate with your wife
Yeah.
is not really effective.
Yeah.
Especially if she's working and you're just shining the flashlight in her face.
Yeah, they hate
Not
that.
appreciated.
Kathleen and I communicate almost entirely via semaphore. It's
flag?
Yeah, it works good though because you can see her office from our the bathroom window. So we just communicate that way. It's nice. It works. It works for us.
Mask semaphore.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well. Rob's got to fight some dogs while we watch the time travel thing. So, okay, the stuff is literally inside of the room.
The ship, yeah.
Like, if it's, okay, I have to assume if it's in this room, that means it's literally in every room of the ship. This is a pervasive cloud that's like oozing through the atmosphere. Everybody knows this.
This is where they drive into the Pink Floyd concert.
Yeah,
That's right.
I also think this is pretty much the only special effect in this movie.
Pretty damn
I
close.
think you're right. Yeah, the thing that I said is like, that scene in Willy Wonka where they're going through the tunnel and he's all crazy talk. I'm like, that's what I was hearing in my inner ear when they were doing this. And then we're going to go through the tunnel and scare the crap out of the kids. Oh yeah. So like this isn't like the shower room. This is like the wardroom. This is where they're playing games and having a coffee. And then there's Mr. Toga here, just like streaking through.
Yeah, Greg here isn't afraid of his body. He isn't ashamed of it, Chris.
He's proud.
You can tell from his mustache that
Yeah,
it's very
he's in the
confident.
Navy.
Oh, this is the cafeteria. Oh man.
Yeah, but it's like
Yeah. You're not wrong. I mean, these guys should have They should.
I
Have
might
more,
be.
They should have more honor. I think is what I'm.
Well, I just thought, like on a submarine, you have the showers just wherever you can fit them. But like, this is an aircraft carrier. They probably have a shower area.
Rob.
Yeah, 2123 here. I was just another thing about communication. It's not it's not a good idea to sound general quarters when you run out of coffee at home anymore.
Everything about this, man. I don't know. I like that it feels organized, and like a lot of those guys are actual sailors that they just like got to do this. It's pretty cool.
It's kind of great. It's a great way to save some money, and they enjoy being in a movie.
Sure. That was kind of like how the whole New Asgard scene in the last Avengers movie. All the people in the background are just the locals because they took over some little village town. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to have the only restaurant cater. And you guys all get to be extras. It's like, all right, we'll let you be in our city.
It's a good time.
All right. So, yeah.
So this is your note.
Yeah. This is the plane landing here. Now, look at this. Oh, they cut, but like that seemed really soft. That was going really fast. It missed the hook. Wouldn't like the wings be like ripped by that net? I think that was the real. I think that was the real crash landing.
I think that was the real capture. Yeah. So.
And yeah, I mean, maybe they kind of cut.
Well, if you
it.
see the net, the net like folds over it, right? Like it slows the whole thing down.
Yeah.
I remember it catches on the landing gear. It catches on the wings.
That's true.
It's
On the
designed to
nose.
just keep it upright and let the landing gear take the brunt of it if it can. And the thing about the tail hook of a jet like that is it's designed to take all the stress. But if you can distribute the stress across, 10 different points of a fighter, and a fighter is reinforced in the wingtips and it's reinforced in the nose. So yeah, I could see it working.
I guess, this shows my lack of understanding. I feel like, if you're, I don't know, 10, 20 tons of steel flying at hundreds of miles an hour, those wings aren't going to be strong enough to like drag you to a stop. But I guess What do I know?
Oh, well, the thing is also, so like the F-35, the one that's rated for carrier landings, it's a very different plane from the F-35 that just lands at a normal, airport or whatever. The landing gear is substantially different. It's meant to be because it has to take a ton more force both on takeoff and landing. So
let's see, 2751. This is you, Chris.
Oh. Yeah, it's just, they're listening to this, station. I just kept on thinking about the guy from Fallout 3. This is Three Dog coming to you live in the wasteland. And it becomes part of the story. And everything. I loved Three Dog, man. He's cool.
My kids love Three Dog, but only from Fallout Shelter. They think he's great in Fallout Shelter.
That's sweet.
It is sweet.
Kids love Three Dog.
Right? So yeah, this is just my note. This is again like many minutes of jet porn.
Yeah.
Like, the boomers, man.
They love jets.
I mean, I do too. Okay, I have to note that the man sitting there, he must be very tiny, or this boat is designed very badly. Because look at his feet dangling off of the edge of that chair. It's like, wee, I'm a little boy.
Well,
He's got suspenders and saddle shoes.
Maybe that's a dangly bench. Maybe it's supposed to be that high.
It's clearly supposed to be that high. It's just very high, It's weird,
Yeah, it seems like an
look at those
afterthought.
director's chairs across from him. I mean, whatever, collapsible chairs. But yeah.
I'm just saying that I feel like a man of respect deserves to have his feet planted squarely on the floor. Otherwise, it makes you look weak. That's my theory.
Yeah, it does. And also, it's an ergonomic nightmare if you. Put your
It's
feet
true,
up.
and he is there for like a lot of the movie.
Charles Durning or the other guy?
The guy sitting on the chair.
I mean, basically the entire time he's alive.
Yes.
Oh, harsh. Spoilers. So,
But it wasn't an ergonomic problem that led to his death.
so we're 32 minutes in, and we've just got our first woman.
Yeah.
Because it's the 80s.
Well, and also there was just all this like casual sexism going on here in the 40s.
Totally.
and,
It's rough. And I think what's funny here too is that this is the casual sexism of the 40s as viewed through the casual sexism of the 80s, and we are now
That's
looking
really
at it
true.
from the totally woke 2020, and like both of these are really bad.
And what's also odd is that the pudgy, heavy drinking, womanizing senator on his pleasure boat in like Honolulu is actually kind of a serious character in this movie. Like he's not a complete throwaway. He's a kind of throwaway.
Now, also, he's military. Or not military, but he's like the Secretary of the Interior or something. This guy has classified clearance. If he sees those jets, this would be like, when we see those UFO videos that the Navy releases and they're like, it's just changing. This is like so many orders of magnitude beyond the technology of his day. He should be freaking out.
So one of the things he says during some part of this is he says that he's a member of the military committee, right? Mm-hmm. There is no such thing. There has never been such a thing as the military committee. Mm-hmm. There was the commission on the Navy and the Army, but there was never and those became the Armed Services Committee in the Senate. So I'm like, just don't make it's so lazy, Lloyd. Stop being so lazy.
I mean,
first
it was 1980.
the rain, now
you didn't have
this.
Wikipedia to look up what did they call.
Oh, yeah, they could have just called the Library of Congress. That's what they live for, that kind of thing. And they had access to an entire, aircraft carrier. I think they could have just asked,
You're not wrong. Although they did do a couple of other little military touches about how they talked about the Department of Defense or whatever, but back then there wasn't a Department of Defense or whatever. There was a couple of little throwaway lines of dialogue where they tried, I guess.
So the reason I put a note in is you see the little robot in the bottom middle of that scene.
You want me to let this run?
So no, it doesn't do anything. It just sits there. But when I had this as a kid, like a kid, right? When I was 10 or 9, and when you wound that up and it would walk on these little like things like this, it was really cute. And his little head would light up because it had like a little flint and steel. It was one of those. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. So I was like, dude, I had that robot. That's all.
That's cool. It's also obscured by Nate's shoulder for the live stream, but there's a cool little robot at 3719 for those of you streaming along.
You're killing me. I found it on eBay. I can put it where my face is.
You can share it. We'll put it up on the Taco Zone, and it'll be the lead news story tomorrow on the news, Chris.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yep, consolation prize.
Yeah.
Let's see, 38-28. Nate.
You got two thirsty tomcats.
This is the thirsty tomcat scene. Keep going.
No,
We're
you made the
at
same joke as I did.
Money shot.
All right, I don't want to let this run too much longer.
You gotta get the money shot here. Yeah, there you go.
Ooh.
I was just gonna say this is the second best on-screen refueling after Doctor Strangelove.
You are correct.
It was actually this is a cool scene.
Yeah,
it is.
This is the apex of the jet porn.
For sure. Although again, it's straight. And I don't know enough, I guess, about refueling mid-air, but it seems really inefficient that so they would have to launch the refueling plane off the aircraft carrier as well, which I assume would be a very heavy launch, which means not a lot of fuel. I don't know. This just seems really inefficient. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think they can. Can they launch a refueling plane off aircraft carrier?
I think there is a small one you can. And the thing you have to realize, though, is that the F-14 is not a light plane, right? It's carrying enormous amounts of weight in the form of bullets and bombs, right? And missiles, right? So, I mean, these are not light planes, right? So you could swap out all those things for fuel tanks, and basically you have a refueler for their smaller sort of tanks. That's all,
I'm just saying, not efficient.
It's not, but nothing about the military is efficient.
That's true.
So this really bothered me.
Me too.
Because
same here.
It's the same water pattern. It's the same lineup of ships. I'm like, these are not two different photos. One is clearly from they're the same photo. Smudge it.
You
smudge it.
Could have cropped one, like rotated a little.
So lazy, Lloyd Kaufman.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was bothered by this.
It bugged me.
Oh, 41.
And that's actually kind of when I came to the conclusion, I was like, that's the problem with this movie. It just pulls all of its punches. It could have been a little bit better if it had just explored any one of these things a little bit more,
No, sir, I can't.
But no, they're just like, and it's done. It's an episode of The Twilight Zone.
Pretty much,
No
yeah.
harm, no foul,
So let's see.
But all of us know that movement through time is possible. Einstein proved it.
Einstein proved it. There you go. I like that you can drop that into any sci-fi movie. Einstein.
Yeah. I think that we should just drop this into anything and just say, Einstein, he predicted COVID. We can just say it.
For those of you watching yesterday's Geeks in Space, because of my tweet, Einstein proved it.
Einstein proved it. It's true.
It's true.
He proved that Twitter would exist.
That's for sure. All right, Nate.
So there's a scene here. They actually reuse that exact shot a couple of times, but then there's no wind, there's no air. They are clearly just
no exhaust.
On the ground.
Yeah, they're just zooming in on a couple of guys poking their head out of landed planes. It's a little
So what's funny
fantastic.
is at Pearl Harbor they have some Japanese Zeros there to show you the kinds of planes that came in and bombed it, right? So I literally think, because they filmed a bunch at Pearl, so I think they literally just did that there. They're like, would you climb up there just for a second? And, yeah. So what I said is, like, if a bullet like hit that guy while During was basically using him as a human shield, it would have gone right through turning
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
into the ship. I mean, those are not like
These were
teeny
not
bullets.
22s. Yeah.
These are not 22 LRs exactly.
Right.
They're not getting stopped by his legislative aid. You know?
Also, the blood in this scene and then in the later shooting
hilarious.
scene, it is so orange, like
Yeah.
just comically the wrong color.
It's very Lloyd Kaufman blood.
There you go. It's trauma blood, is what that is.
Trauma blood. He's like, you can just call anything blood. You got some orange soda?
Although, in all fairness, in the course of the last week, Kat and I have rewatched Evil Dead 2, and The Army of Darkness. And
Nice.
Cool.
the blood in that movie is not any better than what we're talking about here.
No, it's very cherry pie filling looking.
So this was their captain, right? He was the dude driving the boat. Am I correct here? Okay, because
You are correct.
he can't swim. He's screaming, "I can't swim." Now,
I can't swim.
it's not like, okay, if you're the captain of the Nimitz, okay, I get it. You don't need to know how to swim if you're the captain of the Nimitz. But that boat was like a 4-person boat. That captain should know how to swim. That's all I'm saying. That's irresponsible. This guy deserves what he gets.
That boat was way bigger than just holding 4 people, dude. That's like a 55-foot Chris Craft, that boat is.
I'm thinking, well, okay, I'm thinking that like it's got 2 bedrooms. That's what I'm thinking of that boat.
That thing was longer than that. I mean, that was a big boat.
I mean, and look now.
Still, he should be able to and he's got a life preserver on. I don't know what the drama is.
Well,
here,
they want him to go underwater so he
Oh,
doesn't get shot.
they wanted him to take it off so he wouldn't get shot.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
no, I have to get shot.
Right? No, the plot requires it.
Yeah.
The screenwriter said that we can only have so many people from the past. So let's see.
Yeah, so back when I was, 6th grade, 7th grade, and like was into planes and aircraft carriers and that kind of stuff, a part of me would have really been excited about the idea of US, F-14s chasing Zeros.
Yeah.
And that's so cool. Like, we're totally going to kick their ass, et cetera, et cetera.
It's just like in Chuck Yeager's aircraft simulator,
What?
where you could
What?
you could sit
Or
you could set
A-10
modern
tank
planes
killer?
against old ones.
Or A-10 tank
No.
killer? Falcon 3.0?
You're just listing
Microsoft
video games
Flight
now.
Simulator 2020.
Anything by Dynamics?
I hate you guys. I hate you guys so much. No, in Chuck Yeager's air flight simulator, you could set, F-14s or whatever against, Zeros. You could just mix and match, and it was super fun.
I believe
And
I
you
did
guys are
that
jerks.
with CGA graphics.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Let me tell you, Chuck Yeager, you haven't Chuck Yeagered until you've done it in cyan and magenta.
Hey, cyan magenta owns your fro. So
It's true. Let's see. All right, we're jumping a bit here. 50-20.
This is just the
yeah.
culmination of this, where they shoot down the Zeros with air-to-air missiles, and I'm kind of like,
Really?
really, you needed to use a missile? What's that locking onto? Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
A lot of heat signature.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You think he's using an AMRAAM? You think he's dropping a Sidewinder? Maybe a Maverick?
Yeah, I just kind of felt like, you
You could have just shot him,
Yeah.
probably could have just
with
shot.
your bullets.
Your giant bullets, which are way stronger than the bullets that they had back then. They're bigger, they're heavier. Your guns are bigger. No, it's true. All right.
So I just said that
Oh,
this dog, I mean, he's probably the strongest actor in the movie.
Most
Like,
likable.
this
most-
dog is
most likable
always
character.
there.
Yep.
He's like, you know what? There's an enormous helicopter overhead, but I'm doing good. I've got this wood. I mean, it's like everyone else is like, "Oh, we're gonna die. We're gonna get eaten by sharks," and the dog's like, "Ah, they'll come get me. No worries."
He's all like, I'm not letting Leo on this door. No way.
You know, I can almost hear the dog saying, "You know, the thing about shock, right? If you lose control of yourself, that can kill you too. So I'm gonna stay chill. You know." So
He's a wise animal.
yes,
Good dog.
My cats would
Good
not,
dog.
My cats would not help me in this situation. They would actually absolutely hinder me. All right.
Chapman. Senator Samuel Chapman. That's right. Dory, I'm glad you are out here.
So, all right. This is the moment where there is now no doubt to the crew about what has happened. They're talking to a historical figure. Up until this point, I think everything has been like you'd have to be stupid. Like you're shooting zeros, but maybe
Shooting
they're
down zeros.
But
That's a
maybe
good-
they're like-
that's a good tell.
yeah. The photograph of Pearl. Maybe they're reenactors.
And the
maybe
same
it's a prank from Pearl.
And the same goes for him too, right? I mean, he comments on, "Whoa, that's weird," when the helicopter shows up. But I mean, really, that would be as if you sunk and all of a sudden a UFO showed up,
Yep.
a beam of light came out, brought you on board, and there were Navy people on it, and you're like, "Oh, this is a Navy aircraft of some type," you know, and not question it.
I'm
It's just
going
weird.
to need new underwear. Yeah. All right, we're jumping to 58 here.
This is just the part of the movie where, in case you haven't been watching this movie very
Right.
closely, we verbally recap the premise of what's going on, that we've time traveled back to pre-Pearl Harbor, World War II. And so, you know, we're going to just say that out loud so you can't miss it.
Well, you know, we're almost an hour into the movie at this point. You know, there's, in case you had to go get popcorn or
Yep.
something, or
Yep.
we're making out for a while, they just want to reinforce, okay, this is what's happening for the next hour, so you're not completely lost.
Skipper, what we do about it is blow them out of the water.
I don't know. That's yeah. This is now a lot of discussion of paradoxes.
Yep.
You're just trying to think about this stuff. Jesus, I must be dreaming.
Now, hold it. All right. Now, let's all calm down.
I gotta say though, I don't know what Paradoxicus. I'm with him. We gotta really think our stuff through here.
So I don't move from this frame. I have to tell you, I
Yeah.
love that you stopped this frame because it's clearly like they're like, so we're gonna have someone freak out. Looks like it's you, buddy. You know, up until this point, he was just another officer, totally taking this all in stride. Now he's got to freak out. Meanwhile, Kirk Douglas is all smirking and shit with his little dimple.
Kirk Douglas does a lot of smirking in this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
And he
a
does.
lot
He's
of
not.
smirking.
He's not working hard. You know, he's
No.
just like, hey, I'm just glad to be cashing a paycheck and hanging out here, y'all. I'm Spartacus. Hey.
Paradoxicus. Let's see.
So this is the part I actually appreciated, that the senator had produced a completely separate narrative where he was being taken advantage of by political opponents who were hiding futuristic technology from him.
Yeah.
And like, so this movie doesn't honestly have a lot of layers in it, but I liked that at least they constructed within this character that he had a sort of complete view of reality where he was being persecuted. Like that made me feel better about this movie.
It makes sense. I mean, anybody who's going to be elected to that level is going to be a pretty substantial narcissist. They would, you know.
Well, and he talks about how he's chair of some committee.
Yep.
That all of this stuff would have to have been funneled through. So, you know, it's like a pissing contest at this point.
The committee
for
that
him
doesn't
now, you know?
exist.
Right.
But you see, I'm a member of the government committee. We do governing.
So Lassie's going to get help.
Yeah.
Here they come.
He's a good puppy.
Most valuable crew member, that's for sure.
That's right. I don't know. Then there's a lot of really bad orange blood. This whole scene, like, I don't know. This is one of those things that just seems completely implausible. Like in all of the list of the things in this movie that like this guy would just be shot. There's like
No.
20 people around him with guns.
Yeah. I remember this too from my childhood. There was sort of a mythos of the World War II, like Japanese samurai spirit sort of thing. Like, and I feel like this is really playing into that stereotype.
So I've been listening to a lot of the Dan Carlin lately. And he actually made an interesting comment about that. He was talking about early in the Pacific Theater, which would I guess would be maybe 2 years after these events, well after Pearl Harbor. They were talking about how that notion that we have today of the kamikaze Japanese warrior, that myth didn't set in until some amount of time into the war. So that wouldn't even be necessarily a legend at this point in history, but I suppose to a dude
but
from 1980.
These are 1980s people facing off against
For sure. But all I'm saying is that dude's got a machine gun and he is literally surrounded by armed Navy men.
Yes,
he's shot
yes.
within 3 seconds.
No, they should have shot him a lot earlier.
Honestly, like the Japanese guy would have shot all of them as soon as he got a hold of the gun. He wouldn't have waited. He wouldn't have wanted to get on the radio. He would just kill until he had been killed. I mean, it's not like he even knows who any of these jerks are. He's just like, psh,
Well, and for that matter, I suppose in 1941, what are the odds that there would be a Japanese-speaking person? This is before Pearl Harbor, right? We haven't gone to war. He would be thinking this is just a really big aircraft carrier, right? He wouldn't necessarily even expect that somebody would speak his language. I don't know. Of course, I guess in that era, the population of a boat in the Pacific would be like 1,000 people less. Let's see, 112.40.
This is you.
Is this me?
Well, this one I just was like, she's just had her boatmates slaughtered in front of her. Like she's incredibly disoriented, and it's obviously time to put the moves on her.
Oh,
like
yeah.
this is
Hey,
where,
you seem vulnerable.
yeah, like.
Yeah.
I can't
Like,
help but notice
hey.
you're the only other woman that I've ever
Yeah.
seen. All right, what do we got here? Oh, yeah.
This is Senator Samuel S. Chapman of the United States Senate.
This is actually a great
Aircraft
scene.
carrier Nimitz.
He's aboard the Nimitz.
Yep.
And like I just said, I've been listening to a lot of the Dan Carlin lately. And that would, like, the response in all of this is fantastic. Like, of course you've stolen somebody's radio and are farting around.
I'm on the USS Norman Schwarzkopf.
I'm on the Trump.
Oh.
But I mean, I think at the time, Nimitz was the guy in charge of Pearl Harbor and the naval presence in Hawaii. So it's like, this is literally like saying, hello, I'm coming from the aircraft carrier your mom, and she's really big. So
How big is she, Chris?
I'm not coming up with a your mom joke. I'm just saying it'd be transparently ridiculous.
Fair enough. So yeah, my only note during this next the scene, which goes on for a very long time, once again is just we have another huge sequence of we're putting our bullets on our boat and we're putting gas on our jets and we're running down corridors and petting puppies and flying helicopters, and this goes on for a very long time. It is a substantial percentage of this movie.
For sure. And this is the point where you guys got bored about writing notes. So it's all just me again.
It's all just you. I feel like we get to this point with all of these movies, though, because we know how they end. There's not a surprise.
Yeah, there's at this point there's no twists or anything. There's just all pretty standard. You know what's going to happen, and what happens. Although I did wonder if they stuck around, if they would run out of fuel or ammunition first, if they decided to try to fight the fleet.
Mm.
Yeah, because an oiler didn't go with them, you know. So.
Right.
Yep. And well, okay.
These are all explored in depth in the Axis of Time novels.
1980. When do we start having nuclear carriers? Was Reagan the first nuclear carrier? I don't know when that.
No, this is a nuclear carrier. So
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, but fuel for the planes.
Yeah.
The planes, yeah.
The carrier itself can't really do a whole lot. It's the planes that it's carrying.
Yeah, I mean, because you need a higher octane diesel for planes. I don't know.
Well, it's 1980, so you got to worry about having unleaded versus regular.
No, you don't.
Yeah, right.
All right, let's see.
Well,
Chris, these are all your notes now, Chris.
127.30. You're 132. Okay, 132.40. I don't know what I was.
You
thinking.
wrote the word sheet.
Sheet.
So thanks.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I think it's just there's a lot of blowing up stuff, and then they go through the wormhole or whatever. Everyone's holding their head. Oh no, my head.
This seems way more dramatic this time.
No, they had headaches before. It's just whatever. And then we get back to the America F yeah scene here where they're coming home. And I'm just like, they have to explain what happened. All of them are losing their commission. Everyone's going to assume they're idiots. There was like some big drug poisoning on the ship or whatever.
You know what?
And
I'm going to stand up for these sailors, these proud American sailors, Chris. There is tracking systems that like every radar system on Earth saw. Here's the thing we don't know. Did they beam back to the exact moment that they left?
Right.
Or were they gone for like the 24 hours that they were gone?
the show is too lazy to explain such a thing.
Right.
All right.
I just assumed they were gone like they just flickered out and then showed back up. So there weren't very many questions.
And I did, their old age makeup is pretty good.
Okay, so CVN 65, the Enterprise, of which this is an Enterprise class, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The Nimitz class came after it, but the Enterprise class, which came before it, was the first nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. So, anyways, here's so the reason I said America F yeah is because that guy looks just like the main character in America F yeah, right?
You're not wrong.
The one who was given the orders, the old guy.
Yep.
And I was just like, I mean, exactly like it.
America. That movie actually ages pretty well.
Oh yeah,
It's still funny.
it's hilarious.
And what are they like? They did a really good job too. Like, I mean, I like when they pay off like the dog. Like that was nice.
Yeah, that was nice. Who doesn't?
And
that dog worked his tail off literally in the show.
But
Working for kibble.
Working for kibble.
And imagine how many Super Bowls that guy bet on in his
Right.
lifetime now, right?
Right.
I mean,
Yep. All this money is just sports trivia money.
just banned from Vegas probably.
So he's
like
Biff.
get out of here.
Bought IBM at $1.67 in 1952.
Yeah.
Bought Apple when it was worth like 3 cents. Yeah.
But he'll be dead before Bitcoin, so we get the last laugh on him.
Yes, we will.
I enjoyed this movie way more than I thought I would. It has the old movie pacing, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's good.
This movie felt like it was more out of the 70s than the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been years since I saw this, but I ain't mad at it.
Nope.
Yeah, that's true. I was going to say that, what this movie reminded me of was the pacing of Ice Station Zebra, which I'm sure you've all seen, right? It's just like that more measured, we're not going to try to hit that schedule of beats that every Marvel movie hits or whatever. And it's good.
Save the cat on page 13.
Save the cat on page 13. And
So, all right. In terms of movie selection, is it Nate's turn?
It is my
Nate.
turn.
I think so.
Ooh.
So I have a controversial pick here.
Oh, goody.
1987, The Lost Boys.
Oh, wow.
That's a great movie.
All right.
I am on board.
All right.
Done.
You've convinced me.
I'm Spotswood and I endorse this message. So,
You
Nice.
sure do. Well, guy, I'm actually a little disappointed that I didn't get to press my button, so I'm going to do it right now and see if we get a strike. Just
Yeah.
that long.
this song
there we go.
is the final countdown.
The final countdown. Famously composed by Europe for the end of credit sequences, and then rejected by Captain Trauma.
Really?
No.
Was it actually? No, they weren't, because this was a couple years later. This came. You're killing me here.
Thank you, Chris DeBona, for hanging
kind of
out
a
on
sucker.
Geeks in Space, episode 499.
I guess this is where I say goodbye, and I'll see you in the sunny beach town of Santa Clarita, California, which is a pretty nice place, except for the vampires.
The zombies.
Vampires! We're not talking about a zombie movie next. We're talking about...
Come on.
Sorry, the Santa Clarita Diet is a zombie
Oh,
movie.
no. What was the name of the town they used? Because it was Santa Cruz it was set in, but they called it something else. It was like Santa Clarita. I think they used
We'll
it.
find
Anyway,
out
I'll
on
see you
Tuesday.
next week. You know?
Goodbye, Nate Ostendorf.
Farewell.
Goodbye, Rob Roseboom.
See you, everybody.
So I said before, I'll say it again. This has been episode 499 of Geeks in Space. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow with the news. I'm sure it's going to be epic.